Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Little Hedge Grove. Today I'm going to do a video that was requested on the goddess Anu. She is a Celtic mother goddess, and the request was basically to know some more information about her, perhaps what some of her symbology is, and types of offerings and things like that that you can give to her and honor her with. And I had to jump at this offer or suggestion because she is a very close personal goddess to me that I work with and follow. And even those words sound too business-like for the type of relationship that I have with the goddess Anu, because to me she is very much a mother, and that's the essence that comes through to me, is she is a mother presence in my life. She's very motherly, as one would think of a mother, very loving, very kind, very protective. She's the type of goddess that I can ask for guidance, and she offers that nurturing sense into my life that, I feel sometimes is missing from, the person-to-person interactions with family and other types of things. She's just a very warm, I hate to reiterate the word, but very mothery presence in my life on a very personal level. So she is not some goddess that's just out there on some pedestal that, I put out offerings to. She's someone who's with me all the time and looks after me and helps me through my day and through my struggles and things like that as a mother. So when I heard someone wants more information on her, of course I had to jump at this, because I feel that, considering the close relationship that I do have with her, it's in my duty to help spread some of her information with others out there, and that hopefully you can use it if you are looking to communicate with her or to just learn more about her in general. Because she really is a wonderful goddess to, be a part of your life. Anyway, some basic information first that we will get to, just to give some background on this goddess. She is a Celtic goddess. Her name is Anu. That is how it is pronounced. She sometimes goes by Anna or Anun. And there are people that do confuse her with Danu, but I do not see her as the same goddess as Danu. It's a different energy, and Anu is a goddess that is, there is basically proof that she was worshipped back in the ancient Celtic times. People did do homages up to her mountains. There are the Pops of Anu, which are basically the land in Ireland that kind of formed like a womanly breast. There's like two mounds that look like her breasts, and it looks like the curve of her stomach across the land in that area. And it literally looks like the embodiment of the goddess in the land as she's lying down, on the earth, which kind of symbolizes that she is literally the earth. People can personify her as, a beautiful woman. She's been depicted that way, but she is not a goddess outside of the earth. She didn't give birth to the earth. She is the earth. She is the land. She is the sea and the rivers. She is nature herself, is what she is. She is literally nature. So when we see her depicted as a woman, it is really a personification of who she is. She is nature. She is nature herself. She's, everything. She started everything. She gave birth to everything. And she's known to be the mother of nature and the mother of the gods. Everything came from her, and you can take that as a literal sense of her giving birth, but again, she's not a person. She is all of nature herself. So all of these things are her children. Life is her children. The earth is her children. The leaves, the plants, the animals are her children. People are her children. The fae are her children. She gave birth to the gods. All of these beings of life come from her because she is literally nature. And as I've said before when talking about the fae in some of my other videos, nature is not just the leaves and plants. Nature is not just this planet. Nature is even the stars. It's the cosmos. It's everything that makes up everything. And that is what she is. She is all. She is the mother of all of these things. But she does come from Celtic mythology. I do believe that she is mentioned throughout some other areas of the world through different names, depending on the culture and the region. But the one I associate closest to is her Celtic background through the Celtic mythology. Now, when it comes to how to honor her and ways that she is represented, we'll first go back to some of the original mythology that came up with her and what people did in ancient times for Anu. Like I said before, she was depicted actually literally in the land. That's why they had the Paps of Anu, and people would go up onto the breasts of those mountains, and they would put stones there to honor her as representation of her nipples and for fertility and rebirth of the land and prosperity in whatever they were doing, their farming, their all the different agricultural things they were doing, but also other things, even just whatever it was that they were pursuing, they would go to her and honor her for, success in these ventures that they were doing. So these were things that actual people really did. There is, actual text showing that people would go up to the Paps and they would place stones and rocks and things up there, and they would worship her up there, and they would give offerings and homage to her for these prosperous gains and things like that. Anu is also seen as the mother of fae. She is attributed to the Tuath de Danann, who are also known as the fairy folk. And although, again, there's that crossover between Anu and Danu, I do see her as slightly separated here, that she is not literally the Danu, that is said to have led the Tuath de Danann. I see her more as, again, that source. She is the source mother who gave, birth to all of these gods, goddesses, and that would include the Tuath de Danann in that aspect, not as a literal person figure who led that tribe. But considering she does have that affiliation as the mother of the fae, one of the ways that she is also symbolized, besides being literally part of the earth, such as the Paps, she's also depicted sometimes as like a fairy queen, things like that. She's more depicted though as Mother Nature. Things that symbolize her would be literal things you see in nature, plants, the the fields, the farming, the mountains, things like that, the trees. These are all things that kind of symbolize her as much more of a nature, Mother Nature aspect. There, of course, these days in more of the modern days, we have more things that we might use that are like, there are some figures and statues that you can use for her. Again, a lot of them get mixed in with Danu, so you have to kind of separate that out if you do see them as separate energies, entities. Like I do have a wonderful statue of Anu with the water and the land, and it looks like, Mother Nature. And I use that as my representation in my home. Other people can do other things. Sometimes you can just use like a potted plant even to symbolize her. You could symbolize her with, anything that looks like a fairy queen, anything that looks like the earth. Things like that are good for symbolizing her. And again, that goes right along with her being nature. So anything from nature can technically represent her because she is it. You're literally, if you have a plant in your home or something to symbolize her, you're literally having part of her right there. As to things to offer to her, that can vary tremendously from person to person and what your personal connection with her is. I will share some of the things that I do to offer, my respect and love for her is my time out in nature. Things that I do to, nurture her earth, nurture her plants, take care of her animals. Whenever I'm doing any of those things out in the garden, be it, cleaning up the place, watering, fertilizing, taking care of my animals, that feels reverent to me. That feels that I am giving my respects to her through these actions. So to me, a lot of my offerings aren't necessarily physical things that I place somewhere. They're active things that I do to show my appreciation and adoration for her. Another thing that I like to do, which is on the same aspect, is create things, because she is a creating goddess. She's a fertility goddess, a creation. She creates life. She creates things. She gives us, the food we eat, the air we breathe. She's constantly creating. So with that in mind, sometimes I feel like my best offerings for her, things that I can create through expression myself back to her, like painting. I do like to paint a little bit on the side, although I have not done that much recently, but things like that to show my inspiration that's coming through to represent her in her natural world. Other things I like to do is dance. This Samhain, I was thinking about what I should do to, give my appreciation to all the people that have gone by and my ancestors and all these things. And what inspired me that night was actually dance. I just started free form dancing. No specific training came through. It was just total free form dancing. And I felt the most incredible energy run through me. And I felt so connected to Anu and to the nature spirits and to everything that was around, to my ancestors. I felt completely connected just through the actions of moving and dancing and just letting inspiration take over my body. And I could feel that energy just moving and really connecting with everything that was around me. And that was, I think, a great way for me to honor both Anu and the nature spirits that were crossing through the veils at that time, and the Fae and ancestors and things like that. So that's another thing to think about, is when you're wanting to offer something to a creation type of being like Anu, that you should think about possibly creating something back, mirroring trying to mirror some of the things that she's giving back to her. And my personal experience is I feel that she really appreciates it. I think she loves it. And it makes me personally feel much closer to her when I'm doing things like that, because it feels more personable. It's almost like when we're talking about the Fae, how it's not always the literal thing you're giving, it's more of the intention. Make your offerings personal. The more personal an offering is to anyone, the more it means something. Because it comes from you. It comes from your energy. It comes from your spirit. It comes from your heart. And that definitely makes anything a more powerful offering over just, I put, a specific thing here on my altar. So think about those things as well. And it doesn't have to be dance. It doesn't have to be painting. It could be writing. It could be singing. It could be just gardening. It could be picking up trash outside. Anu is very closely related to the types of offerings that you might give to the Fae, because she is nature as well. As the Fae are very much nature beings, so is she. She's very much nature. She's raw nature. So think about things like that. Anything you want to offer to nature, that's who she is. So helping clean the nature, clean the environment. Recycling can be an offering as well. Anything that you do with intent and purpose. Like if you think, I'm just not having time to do anything with my deities lately because I'm so busy and blah, 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 and life and the mundane world, and yet you're taking out your garbage out back. And you know what? You could turn that into an offering right there. You could turn it into an offering by thinking about Anu and being, in your name, you're in my thoughts. I'm going to help your world by separating this into the recycle bin instead of just dumping it in the regular trash, everything else. There you go. You did something. You did a spiritual connection with her, and it was just a simple gesture. It doesn't have to be something big. She's not the type of goddess, from my experiences with her, that really is all up on needing formal, lavish worship. She resonates very closely with the Fae, which I just said, in the aspect of it's not big, lavish worship that she asks for. It's caring for her world. So it's more actions, caring for her world, caring for her animals, being kind to people and the animals and the earth, showing respect. If you're out walking about, asking permission of, the environment and the nature beings, and being cognizant of all of these creatures and beings that are out there, doing so is respecting her, because she's a part of it all, because she is their mother goddess of all those things. So that is my take on Anu. And again, these are my personal interactions that I've had with her that have given me these insights, as well as me reading up on, I have read a lot of things on her lore as well, and mythology. And so it's kind of what I've come up with. I'm sure everybody has their own, personal relationship with her. And I do encourage that. Anyone who tells you that there's only a specific way to honor a god or a goddess is gatekeeping. I'm sorry to say that, but they are. A relationship between you and any deity is a personal one. And they will tell you. They will tell you what they want from you personally. And it may be something different than they're asking your next door neighbor or the girl at the club, or whatever it is that because everybody has their own individual relationship, and that also goes for your god and goddess. And it should be a personal one that you two have together. And that's what makes it special, and that's what makes it strong, no matter what god or goddess it is. And I think that's it. If anyone has any questions, please comment below. If you have other suggestions for other videos, please comment below, and I'll be happy to get to any of those things. Thank you, and I will see you next time.